So I think we're about to see something on the level of Epstein, Weinstein to the power of 10.
From members of the royal family to Grammy and Academy Award winners, we're breaking down all the A-list celebrities named in court docs against P. Diddy, along with some startling accusations.
First of all, that entire filing was just gasp-worthy. I'm not seeing a scenario where he can escape liability, criminal liability.
He's been known for years as a renowned rapper, producer, and label executive who goes by the names P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, or his legal name, Sean Combs. Whatever name you want to call him, he's no stranger to legal troubles. Just this week, both Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles were raided by Homeland Security. According to former prosecutor Melba Pearson, they're likely looking for some specific evidence.
The feds are...
Now, real quick, before she gets started, I will say that the feds just don't raid your home for no good reason. They just not coming over there to borrow some sugar. They coming in, kicking in the door, waving the fofo. They looking for some hard evidence. And likely, they already know a lot of this stuff is more than likely true, because you just cannot get a warrant with the feds just to go see if something's in there. You'd have to speak to a whole lot of people, get some really hard evidence, probably get some wiretaps, probably get a whole bunch of stuff for it just to even sign on that. There is a very long and lengthy process for Homeland Security, FBI, DEA, for them to come kicking in your door. For if they didn't have anything, there would be no way in the world a judge would sign off on that. So when you got stuff like this, when they come kicking in your door, that is some very serious stuff going on. And what did they walk out with? They walked out with tapes. They walked out with guns. You saw the Sean Diddy's kids getting arrested on the lawn, or getting detained, getting put in handcuffs. That's what you saw. So trust me, this is not over. Diddy has not been indicted in anything at all, but I guarantee you they are going to put some heavy charges on him when they're good and damn ready to. He can enjoy his time right now. He can be out here smiling right now, but guess what? The chickens are coming home to roost, Diddy, and your time is coming. We saw what happened to Epstein. This is the next round. This is the Diddy steam that's going on right now. Let's go.
Are doing raids at 3 different homes of P. Diddy, including his homes in California, in Florida, and in New York. And what I think they're looking for are videos. So basically, P. Diddy had a habit, allegedly, based on told to us through the filings by Cassie Ventura. They have all said that he had a habit of liking to video either him abusing other people or forcing other people to abuse each other for his pleasure, and would record all of that. So I think those are some of the things that the feds are looking for. I think they're looking for other types of evidence to corroborate the statements that were made by Lil Rod, by Cassie Ventura, and the other people have come forward saying that he did abuse them. So they're looking for corroborating evidence and basically the building blocks to put together what will end up being a massive, massive, massive criminal case.
So far, Diddy has...
So in Lil Rod, he filed a 100-page lawsuit, 100-page complaint. It was originally 7 pages. Then he amended it to 100 pages. And he was extremely detailed, just like Cassie was, of his experience with Diddy, his experience with Cuba Gooding Jr., his experience dealing with Young Miami's cousin. Something about Lil Rod was going to the bathroom to urinate, and she come busting the bathroom and get down on the knees to try to eat something. So the stuff like that's what was going on in Diddy's parties. Stuff like that is what Lil Rod is allegedly said happened at Diddy's parties. And he was just with Diddy for about a year or so. Can you imagine, with all the stuff that Diddy has done over the past 20, 30 years in his whole music career, what kind of crazy ass parties have been going on? I'm not just talking about men with women either. I'm talking about men doing some things with other men too. That's what's being alleged in this suit. Let's keep going.
Hasn't been arrested, but he has already faced his fair share of legal issues. Last year, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Casandra Ventura, who you probably know as singer Cassie, accused him of sex trafficking and sexual slavery. She alleged that Diddy raped her and beat her so severely that she was bruised. Cassie also alleged Diddy made her have sex with prostitutes and recorded it on video. She also says he forced her to carry a gun. Cassie sued him under New York's Adult Survivors Act and settled with Diddy outside of court just one day after the suit was filed. Joy Dickerson
Need I remind you, she settled with Diddy for $30 million. $30 million. So if she got $30 million, what is Lil Rod ultimately asking for? Because he is alleging that a lot of stuff happened. He didn't, again, he was with Diddy for 1 year. Cassie was with Diddy for about 10 years. So Lil Rod, you trying to come after Diddy for what, 30 million too, 20 million, 40 million, 50 million? That's what is he hasn't really said what he's coming after, how much he's coming after Diddy for, but we're gonna find out real soon as this story keeps on going.
Neal also filed suit against Diddy under the Adult Survivors Act, accusing him of drugging and sexually assaulting her back in 1991 when she was a college student at Syracuse University. Diddy was slammed with yet another lawsuit last month, this time brought on by music producer Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod. The 73-page lawsuit lays out dozens of allegations against Diddy, including that he forced Lil Rod to hire prostitutes and have sex with them. The court doc also claims Diddy himself assaulted Lil Rod, but that's not the only bombshell allegations revealed in the detailed documents. Lil Rod doesn't shy away from publicly naming other celebrities he says assaulted him.
I don't know that Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to escape from that one.
Let's start with the allegations against Academy Award-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Lil Rod alleges Diddy was, quote, grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. when they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. There's actually photos of their interaction together too, which are laid out in those court documents. In the first pic, you see Diddy and Cuba talking with Diddy's arms on Cuba's. In the next pic, Cuba has his arm around Lil Rod and is smirking. Court docs go on to state, quote, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching and Mr. Jones's legs, his inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. He rejected his advances, and Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcibly pushed him away.
In the last couple of years, there were allegations against him for sexual assault. So now we had those prior allegations, and now we see him tied to this case as allegedly trying to, assault a Lil Rod, assault others.
Back in 2019, Cuba was booked on misdemeanor charges of forcible touching and sexual abuse after he allegedly groped a woman in Times Square. By the next year, 3 women had come forward accusing him of non-consensual sexual touching. He eventually reached a deal with prosecutors that required 6 months of counseling but no jail time.
So Cuba has a history of just touching people inappropriately. First it was women, now it's allegedly Lil Rod. Come on now, Cuba. So his career's done too. His PR, his career, any movies that he's done a lot of good movies. His career is basically over as well. Matter of fact, anybody had that anything to do with all that freaky ass stuff going on in Diddy's parties, they are just as radioactive as Diddy is right now. Their careers are also done because no one wants to deal with them. Even if they didn't do anything illegally, it's just a bad PR, especially everything that's criminal going on with Diddy right now. So if anybody out there, if we hear, oh Lord, if we hear anything about an Usher, a Justin Bieber, some other celebrities that Diddy was hanging out, because Diddy's parties were legendary now. Everybody said that, ain't no party like a Diddy party. So are we going to see more people get called out, more celebrities, more people of high power and high status, anybody in royalty, anybody in elected office? Are we going to see any more people's names come out about what they allegedly did at a Diddy party? We'll see.
I'm getting the feeling where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Because now we have 2 different instances where you're accused of the same type of behavior, years apart. I think there's something there. And I don't know that Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to escape from that one because he already saw definitely people moving away from him within Hollywood circles and other circles once those first sexual assault allegations came out. So at this point, I don't think he's going to get away with it a second time.
Is it possible that he could face charges based on these allegations that were brought forward by Lil Rod?
It is possible as well. Again, we've got the statute of limitations issue to deal with. So depending on the time frame of when this happened, is, again, the Adult Survivors Act, which was the vehicle where many of these lawsuits came out, many of these civil suits, came out. There was a finite amount of time for those suits to be filed. Time frame is going to be very, very important. What witnesses come forward, because again, this may not be a situation where DNA may be at play. This may be more of a situation of, hey, yes, I was there and I recall, Cuba Gooding Jr., putting his hands on Lil Rod, or I, recall certain aspects. So,
I'm sorry. Look at this picture right here. I don't know of any grown straight man that's going to put his arms around another man and be that close, have his face that close to that man's face. I don't know of any heterosexual man that's going to do that. And he is look like he's trying to do something strange for a little piece of change. Cuba Gooding Jr. look like he is some freaky ass stuff. So we gonna keep on going.
So it's going to be a very witness intensive type of case. And the question is, will the witnesses be willing to come forward?
Lil Rod's lawsuit also publicly named another celebrity linked to Diddy, Jennifer Lopez.
From the standpoint of the names of the celebrities that were tied to this, the fact that Jennifer Lopez was tied to this back when she was involved in or party to a shooting at a nightclub when she was dating Diddy, and is now alleged to have brought the gun with her to the scene and gave it to Diddy, and that's how the shooting occurred.
Lil Rod's team brings up J-Lo when establishing Diddy's history, writing his, quote, RICO enterprise has existed for at least 20 years, dating back to the 1999 nightclub shooting in NYC, when Mr. Combs required his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez to transport his illegal firearm into the NYC nightclub. The court docs allege Diddy forced his then-artist Shine to assume responsibility for the shooting of several individuals. All this happened back on December 27, 1999.
And it's very possible that the law, the judge, the state will reopen that case to reinvestigate what really happened. If anything that Lil Rod is saying is true, they will reopen this case and maybe file some different charges, some new charges in relation to that case back in the 1990s.
When a fight broke out at a nightclub, Diddy, J-Lo, and rapper Shine were all there, and according to former rapper Mark Curry, Diddy paid Shine $1 million to take the fall for the shooting and serve a 10-year prison sentence. Lil Rod's lawsuit now suggests it was J-Lo who brought the gun. The fact that she's named as somebody who was carrying a weapon, could that be incriminating for Jennifer Lopez?
It can be, but with a huge caveat, right? If I'm not mistaken, that shooting did not result in a death. I know that somebody was harmed, but I don't believe anyone was killed. Because of that, you had the statute of limitations to deal with, which is basically a prolonged amount of a certain amount of time that a prosecutor has to be able to bring charges against someone. And it varies from state to state. But the one thing is consistent is that there is no statute of limitations on murder. So if P. Diddy had actually killed this person, or the person died as a result of their injuries, now J-Lo could be brought into the mix as a co-defendant because of the fact that the person has passed away. But if the person is alive, and maybe they had serious injuries or whatever the case may be, statute of limitations would run, and it is highly likely at this juncture that statute of limitations have expired, therefore she does not have any criminal liability. But the reputational damage might be a different story, because now she's branding herself as something very different than who she was back then. Back then, she was very much Jenny from the block. She was, dating a variety of hip hop artists. She was very much in that world. Now she's married to Ben Affleck. She's trying to, portray herself in a different manner. So now her past is going to come back to haunt her. And we don't know what that's going to mean for her future in terms of movie deals, music deals, or anything like that. So I think for her, it might be more reputational damage than criminal liability.
And that's what a lot of people are afraid of if these Diddy tapes really come out to light, because you have a lot of people that were buck wild back in that day, buck wild back in the 90s. This was, 20, 15 years ago, maybe. And now these people, they've moved on with their lives. They've done a lot better with their lives. They're philanthropists. They're high level celebrities, CEOs, elected officials, whatever. And they may be married, they may have kids, they have maybe forgotten all about that life, done a complete 180, and they ain't about that life no more. But if these tapes come out and you see some familiar faces on them doing some crazy buck wild stuff, even if it's not illegal, the fact that PR is just out there, the fact that those tapes are out there, their whole reputation is just instantly destroyed. Everything that they work for over a tape that they didn't even know that they were being filmed for. You think you go into a Diddy party, no cameras are allowed, you don't see any press around there, you don't see anybody holding these big camcorders or nothing, but Diddy is secretly taping everybody in his house, and he just so happened to have a tape of your favorite celebrity, your favorite athlete, or your celebrity crush or whatever, and that tape comes out. Yeah, their career is just over with in a snap. And it's not even their fault. It's not like they asked for it. They thought they were doing this in privacy, but Diddy was just recording all this stuff probably because he could use it as blackmail, or maybe he even did use it as blackmail for some of these celebrities out here. Why do you think you haven't heard anybody say anything about Diddy? You haven't heard a single celebrity out there coming to Diddy's defense or saying anything that happened in any of these tapes, in any of Diddy's parties. They just say his parties were legendary, or no one's saying anything at all. Probably because a lot of those people that were at Diddy's parties, they were filmed. Diddy told them about it. Diddy probably showed them a copy of it and say, look, if I ever hear your name, my name in your mouth in a bad light, I'm putting the tape out. He's probably using that as blackmail, and maybe that's how he became so powerful. Maybe that's how he became so untouchable, along with the money, along with the fame, along with the status, because he's got all these people in his back pocket. I wonder how many people he's got in his back pocket, how many mayors, how many governors, how many police commissioners, how many district attorneys, how many people of royalty, celebrities, elected officials. How many people does Diddy have in his back pocket, because he has a secret tape on them of them doing some crazy stuff, and he just said one word and it's out there. I wonder how many folks. So that's probably why he's gotten away with this for so long, because of all this blackmail out there, allegedly, that he just has all these tapes of just people. Because you ain't heard nobody really come out and say anything except for really two people so far, Cassie and Lil Rod. So we may see some more people file some lawsuits, but you haven't heard any celebrities come out and say anything. Where's Mary J. Blige? Where's Little Kim? Where's Faith Evans? Where's Craig Mack? Mayshaw ain't saying nothing. He got a whole podcast. You haven't heard any of these people say anything about what's going on with Diddy. They are just silent. They are just quiet. Who is coming to Diddy's defense? Absolutely nobody. I'm not saying that they should come to Diddy's defense. I'm just saying that they are not saying a single solitary word at all, at least right now.
Kirsten says it's possible Jennifer Lopez could file some sort of defamation suit, but it's not likely.
She could, but at the end of the day, when it comes to defamation and those types of cases, truth is an absolute defense. So if he has some sort of receipts to basically prove that, hey, I was right there, I saw her the same way in the filings, you saw a number of different screenshots and pictures that he submitted to support the different points that he was making. If he has some pictures to substantiate that she was carrying the gun, it is going to be very hard for her to say in good conscience in a court of law that, this wasn't true. He's made this up. And now as a result, I've lost, money, I've lost opportunities and things like that. There's going to be too much evidence out there connecting her to this that is going to be very hard for a jury to come back and say, yeah, he's making all of this up.
And that's the main difference between Lil Rod's filing and Cassie's filing. What Cassie did, she just, her lawyers were typing out everything, all the details that she allegedly went through in her time with Diddy. Lil Rod, not only did he did that to a higher degree, but he also added the pictures. He also added the screenshots. We saw pictures of Cuba Gooding Jr. We saw pictures of other celebrities. We saw pictures with Lil Rod and Diddy. That's the main thing. So anybody can say whatever they want, but when you have some pictures, when you have some evidence to substantiate what you are saying, it's kind of people are more likely to believe you than not.
But it's not just artists that Lil Rod named either. He specifically mentioned Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, in his court documents. It reads in part, quote, Mr. Combs was known for throwing the best parties. Affiliation with and or sponsorship of Mr. Combs' sex trafficking parties garnered legitimacy and access to political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British Royal Prince Harry. Why even name Prince Harry? There's no allegations against him or anything, but why bring him up?
I think it may have been a move to bring more credibility to the filing and say that, basically he being Diddy, was using his fame, fortune, and influence to insulate himself. So he was able to legitimize some of the activities he was doing by having these lavish parties, bringing all these A-list celebrities, but somewhere in a back room or somewhere in another wing, horrible things were happening. So the fact that Prince Harry was there does not necessarily mean he was participating in what was happening. And just because you were at a party doesn't mean you know what's happening in every inch of the house. I mean, if you think about it, if the party's being thrown in a mansion, there are various floors and wings. So it is completely possible that he was there and did not participate. Now, if you had said Prince Andrew, especially as a result of the allegations that came out in connection with the Epstein case, that they were close and that they traveled together, and there was a person that alleged that he had sexually assaulted her while she was underage, that would be a different story. But Prince Harry and the way that it was mentioned seemed to be very, again, just sort of trying to bring legitimacy and talk about these were the people that Diddy surrounded himself by to protect himself.
So Prince Harry has no formal accusations against him, but the name association could cause damage to his reputation. Even so, Pearson says it's not likely he files any sort of defamation suit.
It's possible that Prince Harry may be able to preserve his reputation. But again, just in light of everything him and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, have been through, I truly really hope that, he's able to completely distance himself, maybe make a statement, because again, since he's not necessarily under the umbrella of the royal family directly, so in other words, Buckingham Palace would not be releasing a statement on his behalf. It would be him releasing a statement and saying, yes, I went to X party, but no, I never engaged in any inappropriate behavior or other details that he may see fit to share. So that's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But again, since it was such a minuscule mention in the greater context of this filing, he may be okay.
Pearson
I think he'll be okay because he was just named, but there were no details or accusations about anything that Prince Harry allegedly did at the party. His name was just in a file on one sentence, and that was it. So I don't think Prince Harry is being accused or being named and doing any kind of crazy freak offs like some other people were allegedly doing, and like Cuba Gooding Jr. was doing. He was participating in the freak offs. Diddy was doing a lot of crazy stuff in these freak offs. So, but it sounded like Prince Harry wasn't really doing much at all.
compares Prince Harry's association with that of President Bill Clinton, who'd been seen with Jeffrey Epstein before his arrest.
And there didn't seem to be much said around him actually engaging in activities, more that he was present at the parties. So I don't recall seeing a lot of fallout on the part of President Clinton from that association.
Speaking of Epstein, Lil Rod's court docs draw a parallel between Diddy's alleged crimes and Jeffrey Epstein's. Epstein died by suicide back in 2019 when he faced numerous charges of sexual assault over the course of multiple years. His longtime companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, was charged and found guilty of sex trafficking in relation to her time with Epstein. She's currently serving out a lengthy prison sentence. Lil Rod compares Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Cahorum, to Ghislaine Maxwell, saying she ordered sex workers and prostitutes for Mr. Combs and ordered and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Combs and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht and in his homes in LA, NYC, and Miami.
That's why you have the DEA involved in this. That's why you have the FBI involved in this, because we are talking about trafficking. We talking about drugs. We talking about weapons. All this stuff that's being alleged that Diddy was in participation of. That's why you have Department of Homeland Security involved in all this, because of all these different crimes that Diddy is allegedly involved of. And you talking about some serious kind of drugs like ketamine? Oh my God, come on now. So yeah, this is the feds have been looking into Diddy for a very long time. This didn't just kick off when Cassie came out with her with her lawsuit. This has probably been going on, or this has been under investigation for a very long time, maybe even many months before that, maybe even years before Cassie filed her lawsuit. So I think that we are going to see a lot more of this come out. I think we're going to see more people allege what happened to them at Diddy's party, what Diddy made them do at his parties or in his association. So yeah, I think that Diddy he may not be guilty on everything that's being alleged, but I think he is guilty of something. And I think that when the feds come down, they are going to come down hard with the hammer of some very serious charges. It may not be a lot of charges, but you will see some very serious charges being laid against Diddy.
Present on his rented yacht and in his homes in LA, NYC, and Miami.
None of these cases, when you have these high profile people that have been using people over years, these cases happen without a handler. R. Kelly had a handler, Epstein had a handler, Weinstein had a handler. Everybody has, in those scenarios of those powerful people, powerful men that are abusing other people, they have someone that does their dirty work.
Yeah, because you can't be a high level celebrity and just yourself, you just try to solicit some workers, some escorts. You trying to get some drugs. You are a high level celebrity. You cannot get caught with your hands caught in the cookie jar doing some crazy stuff like that. You have to have a handler. You have to have somebody behind the scenes. You have to have somebody doing the dirty work for you in order to get all this done behind closed doors. Otherwise, people will recognize your name. People will see your face. You will be on TMZ the very next hour, especially in this social media world that we live in today. So there is no way in hell that Diddy would have gotten any of this stuff done without some partnerships, without a handler, someone to handle the dirty work for him.
And it's usually not only just one person, it's several people who may have different duties. So again, seeing this woman being his handler, being the person to get him drugs, being the person to procure sex workers for him, being the person to basically be on cleanup duty in case of, covering up or silencing people that might want to come forward, that's not unusual. And she is also going to bear the brunt of criminal liability, just like Ghislaine Maxwell did, and basically had to take the entire brunt of the criminal justice system alone because of the fact that, Epstein committed suicide and was not able to be held accountable.
According to Pearson, Diddy and many of his associates will likely face federal charges, but it's not totally clear when. And what do you think a timetable would look like for all of that? I know that there's a lot of evidence to gather over many years, but is it possible that a federal indictment could be just around the corner?
I would hesitate to say just around the corner because with all of the experience I've had with these office approaches cases, they do not move until they have you fully, like they have you dead to rights basically.
Yep.
So they are going to take their time, they're going to collect all the evidence, they're going to speak to as many witnesses as they can, they're going to follow every single trail, every single lead that they can before they go to an indictment. There can be continuances, there can be other things that can delay the case, but once you file that charging document, the clock starts ticking. So that, when I was a prosecutor, I always advised my detectives, anybody that I was training, that you get all the evidence you can up front and then you file charges.
So when is it possible that we would actually see him being arrested or facing any of these indictments? Could it be months down the line?
I feel that it would be months down the line. I would not be surprised if it was before the end of this year. Because again, this is going to be a massive investigation involving at least 3 states, much as we saw in the Epstein case, where he was bringing underage girls to one of his islands in the Caribbean. And there have been some allegations of things happening on planes, things happening on trips. So there may be additional locations that may need to be searched and additional witnesses that may need to be spoken to in order to get a full picture for what charges would be appropriate and what would be the best path forward with this case.
So first, before they indict Diddy with anything, they're going to comb through all the evidence they found at his houses, all the tapes, all the guns, all the evidence cases that they walked out with, everything that the DEA and the Department of Homeland Security, everything that they was looking for at his house. They're going to look at every single second of any tapes that Diddy has in his house. What they're going to do is they're going to have a because you got to get some black people to work on this case. You just can't have some other races of FBI agents or Department of Homeland Security agents looking at this case, because they don't know a lot of black celebrities. No offense, but they may not know who an Usher is. They may not know who a Cuba Gooding Jr. is. They may not know who Jennifer Lopez is. They may not know what Justin Bieber looks like. So when you're going to have someone doing the grunt work, someone looking at every single second of any tapes that they found in his evidence. They're going to test all of the weapons that they found at Diddy's residence, see if it matches up with the ballistics of any filings that have been done out there, any open filings, any closed filings, any related case that they found. Because if they see that Diddy had a weapon in his home and it matched up to a murder or some other serious crime that happened, either as active or is already closed, they will likely reopen that case. They will link that gun to Diddy because that gun was found in his residence. So that's why the government, they're going to take their time with looking at all of that evidence before they come down with charges, because they don't want to miss anything. They don't want to possibly undercharge him. They are going to look at all this other stuff. They're going to put everything together. Then they're going to have the lawyers come together and see exactly what they want to charge him with, and his team with, and his handlers with, before they lay out anything. Because once they put charges on people, once they arrest Diddy or anybody else, then the clock starts, because that's when he can officially start his defense. And Diddy, he got so much money. He worth $1 billion. You know for a fact that he is going to hire the best legal team that he can afford to defend all allegations that come against him. And the government knows it. So that's why they are taking their time with this. That's why they're being very careful of how they move about this, because they don't want any of these charges to get dismissed just on a little technicality.
And it's possible Diddy serves a lengthy prison sentence for all this if he were to be convicted in criminal court. If this does happen, that P. Diddy is indicted. I know in R. Kelly, we saw quite a large sentence for him. What could P. Diddy be facing if he is convicted of eventual indictments?
Yeah, well, it all depends on what charges are brought and how many counts of each charge is brought, right? Because for each charge is usually one victim or survivor attached to that charge. So if the U.S. Attorney's Office is able to pull together 15 survivors, right, and they're willing to come forward and testify, you may see 15 counts. So the question will be, if he's convicted, will all those counts run concurrently, meaning at the same time, or would they all be consecutive? And if it's consecutive, he could be looking at life plus, right? If they're run concurrently, again, depending on the universe of what is charged, he's going to be looking at a prison sentence if convicted. There's going to be no way around that.
Is there any
So guys, that's all I got for this one. What do y'all think is going on with Diddy? What do y'all think about all this stuff that's been going on? Do y'all think that the feds have any more evidence to go through? What do y'all think that Diddy is possibly facing in all of these alleged things that he's been accused of? Do you think that Lil Rod is lying? Do you think that there are more people that's going to come out and speak? Do you think that Diddy is innocent and all this is a hoax? Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.